7,520,000,000 people wake up every day. Each of these 7.5 billion has its own unique eye profile, fingerprint, hair color, religion, hobbies, and character. Each of these 7.5 billion has its own life view, different from all others. Sometimes it causes curiosity, and sometimes non-acceptance, which can provoke conflicts and split within the society. The world is becoming closer and more interconnected. However, it doesn't mean that people and communities are really living together. This is evidenced by the isolation to which millions of poor people, women, young people, migrants, and disadvantaged minorities are exposed. Today we have an access to huge deposits of information and technology, but like thousands of years ago, man lacks wisdom, tolerance, and ability to prevent conflicts, eradicate poverty, and recreate the destroyed harmony and security in the world. Intensive radicalization in almost all regions continues to undermine joint efforts to strengthen peace. Violent extremism caused by radicalization and violent actions against governments and societies is a rapidly growing problem for the modern world. Within the framework of the International Decade of the Rapprochement of Cultures from 2013 to 2022 and the International Youth Day, which celebrated annually on the 12th of August, and the International Literacy Day, which celebrated on the 8th of September, the second UNESCO Youth Forum was held in Almaty. The theme of the forum was Youth Cooperation in the Field of Strengthening Intercultural Dialogue and Prevention of Violent Extremism. The forum brought together about 100 participants, aged from 17 to 30 years. They are Kazakh and foreign students, representatives of youth organizations of Central Asia.
This is our second UNESCO Youth Forum in Almaty. We conducted the first one last year. This year we are holding it in the framework of the International Decade for the Rapprochement of Cultures, and accordingly the topic of the forum is quite relevant for the implementation of this decade: youth cooperation in the field of strengthening intercultural dialogue and prevention of violent extremism. Almaty is a city of young people. The average age of citizen is 34 years. Therefore, this forum will serve as a good platform for establishing efficient dialogue and in subsequent implementation of recommendations that will be discussed and developed today.
I'm coming from the Turkic Council, the Cooperation Council of Turkic-speaking states. Kazakhstan is a member of our organization as well. We were kindly invited by the UNESCO Almaty branch. We came here to attend the conference as a speaker.
Today, this is like an event where youth are participating for the first time. So this is a chance for youth to be outspoken in a way and to kind of give their opinion, because we don't actually have that chance every day.
We came to this forum first of all to share the experience in terms of cultural diversity on behalf of our Republic of Tatarstan. There are different nations within one country, and we can say that they live quite peaceful. We would also like to gain experience and to learn best practices from other representatives of different countries, how people can better interact, how they do it or how they want to do it, and of course learn how we, young people, can make some contribution to this.
During this forum, I'm expecting the recommendations from young people concerning media information literacy. If you ask what is literacy in the field of freedom of information, or what are the 9 principles of freedom of information, only a few people will answer. Or, for example, what is gaming literacy for a child? When parents know that a game on computer or mobile phone causes an emotional state that will lead, perhaps, to radicalization. Such platform should exist. That platform for communication, for discussion and for exchanging of experience. I think that such forums should be held more often.
In different countries and at different times, a lot of legal and scientific definitions were given to the term extremism. To date, there is no single definition. A large explanatory dictionary says that extremism is a commitment to extreme views and measures. However, it does not reflect the essence of this phenomenon.
The essence of extremism itself is not yet well understood. What's this? Anger against the existing system? Hatred? Enmity? No. Maybe it is the result of some chemical substance. What made him go and do this? Maybe he's just a tool in some hands. Maybe people behind him are trying to change something in our fairly prosperous society.
Scientists insist that by defining the term extremism, the emphasis should be on actions, not on the people, because calling the people and groups as extremists is not quite unambiguous. It depends on the position and group affiliation of the person using the term. The same group alone can be called extremists, and others are fighters for freedom.
I mean, this is a very important topic that, it's a problem as well.
If you see the propaganda of extremism, of course, first of all, it's necessary to inform. It's necessary to create conditions for this to become known. Because if it's conducted in a secret, then you become the object of this extremism. If everyone knows about this via Facebook or somehow else through the social networks, it's becoming some kind of prevention.
The growth of extremism is usually promoted by socio-economic crisis, a sharp drop in the standard of living of the bulk of the population, totalitarian political regimes with oppression by the authorities, persecution of dissent, external intervention. The decisive role of young women and men in the development of intercultural dialogue is increasingly recognized within the framework of the global program of sustainable development. The youth who became responsible for making decisions tomorrow is not only the beneficiaries but also important participants in the search for solutions. Their potential is the basis for creating an atmosphere of mutual trust, mutual understanding and strengthening of the cohesion of society in order to combat the threat of violent extremism. The main objective of Youth Forum was to provide young people with an ability to express their concern about the problems of intercultural dialogue in everyday life and to present their ideas on preventing violent extremism, as well as to increase the awareness of decision makers, the media and civil society about the importance of youth participation in the creation of peaceful societies and the promotion of sustainable development.
In our organization, we organize international events. As individuals, everyone can invest something into it. Being more tolerant, intelligent, willing to be a good person, that's enough to prevent many world conflicts.
The thing is that youth are very easily, they could be easily talked into a lot of things. So they believe that this is the thing that is correct, and they get so passionate about it, but they don't know what is actually the dangers lying behind what they know. So this is why they need proper education.
Young people is the most dynamic force of our, in the world today. Their population amounts to approximately half of the world's population. This is the greatest number to have ever existed in the world. So this is a very vibrant force. Humanity cannot ignore such an important portion of itself. So we should develop lots of more energy on the youth.
Within the forum, there were organized 3 sessions. During the first part, participants discussed the efforts of governments and the international organizations to strengthen intercultural dialogue and prevent violent extremism involving young people. At the second session, the question was raised: how can young people contribute to the creation of peaceful communities, youth approach in the prevention of violent extremism, and the development of intercultural dialogue?
We know that the Central Asian region is quite vulnerable to this problem, so it was important for us to hear the opinions of young leaders and activists on how to prevent violent extremism.
The third session was the joint work of participants and experts, brainstorming and developing of recommendations for youth and government agents.
Today, we, for the first time, prepared the brainstorming sessions where young people were divided into 3 groups and were able to work with experts on certain recommendations, which in the future will be used at national, regional and international levels. This forum brought together young leaders, and the leaders are best of the best, and they're always being followed. And the most important thing for young people is courage, fearlessness. They are not afraid of anything. Their brains are not cemented yet with such phrases as "you should," "you must," "I can," "it is necessary." This will be the most important thing. I really liked the reaction to our presentation because people came to us. I saw the faces that were really full of interest. We were told, "We want to visit you. You are so cool." It's really priceless.
It was interesting for me to listen to the speaker from Turkey, to make a joint project with them. I applied for the participation in the second UNESCO Youth Forum, and the organizing committee accepted me. I was so glad. There are many opportunities for foreigners. I wanted to participate, meet people, and to learn more for myself.
Such forums bring together active people. Today, some participants told us how they implement different projects in their villages and towns. There are people who solve their problems at the regional level, being young people, and it's very cool. And it turns out that we come here, get the right information, return to our homes, and make really useful changes.
We need such forums. What for? Because there is some understanding among young people how to proceed further, what to do, what kind of extremism exists, why it's necessary to struggle against it, whether the work on it is needed or not. This is where interested young people are gathered together. They start working on it, they have their own projects. It's cool, it's wonderful. I expanded my horizons, found out other companies that work in this direction, like non-government organizations, etc. What they are doing for this, and made a tick for myself. What a violent extremism is. It's the same as terrorism, or it starts from a little, from the family and so on. I realized some differences in this.
Of course, we need to hold such events. First, it is a positive mood. Secondly, it is awareness of the problem. And thirdly, UNESCO itself will, through such forums, learn from us, from the young generation, how to solve this or other issues from our point of view. I think they will make up conclusions based on our opinions.
Today there were a lot of different speakers, and I learned a lot about the media. Although my category of brainstorming was connected with the governmental issues. This indicates that there was a lot of information here, both for me and for everyone else.
For me, there was not a lot of new knowledge, but there was a very cool and productive work with guys, new acquaintances, and all of them immediately got involved into the work. I think our ideas will get an application and implementation, for sure.
What I liked about the forum is I haven't expected youth being around Central Asia so much passionate about this exact theme. So it's very impressed to be I'm personally very impressed.
As a result of a forum, we can get good recommendations. We can even issue a special methodical manual, reviews and comments. I think that with every year the forum should become bigger and bigger to engage more young people in it. What do I like here is that everyone comes here of their own free will. It's not as everyone was taken in one room and is sitting for 2 or 3 hours, all of whom are not interested in the topic. On the contrary, they came by themselves, sat down, and everyone was interested. All the guys and the participants are the leaders.
It's being formed in their minds now how we're going to live tomorrow.
No one is born a violent extremist. Each person's path towards culture radicalization had been shaped by certain experience, including social ones. That's why UNESCO says it is not enough to counter violent extremism. We need to prevent it.